Hey, I'm Arden Kaywin, and on today's episode of the Pro Singer Success Collective, we are going to be talking about how to solve the big problems in your singing career. All right, guys, so today we're going to talk about problem solving. And I want to help you by giving you a simple framework that I use in order to look at problems and challenges in whatever it is that I'm doing and help you to apply this to how you're walking through your singing and your singing career. So, challenge is inevitable, right? Like, first, we just need to understand that when we're up to big things and we're doing important things in our lives, anything worthwhile that we do, we're going to have challenges. So number one, the first thing that I really want you guys to understand is that challenges are inevitable. And so this brings me to looking at the mindset and the mental side of how you approach challenges. And so, first of all, the most important principle that I really want you to get is taking extreme ownership. So, every problem in your singing, every problem in your singing career is most of the time a failure of ownership. Like taking total responsibility for where you are, every challenge, everything that goes wrong and that goes right. Okay. The buck stops with you. So don't waste your time playing the blame game, right? This is your singing. This is your career. And if it's not where you want it to be, you are responsible in some way. The buck stops with you. So that can kind of suck sometimes because it might make you feel bad or less than. But here's the thing, by taking responsibility for where you are and everything that you're creating, the bad, the good, and everything in between, by taking responsibility and ownership over that, you access your own power. And that's really important because, after all, if you can create the problem, you can also create a solution. Does that make sense? So start by taking full responsibility right away, claim full ownership over what you're creating. And then you can start to use the steps that I'm going to talk about today and share with you in order to identify what the problems are and how to fix it. Oh, and one more thing before we dive into the process. And it's something that's really important, and I don't want to leave this out. Because after doing the work that I do for over 20 years, I can tell you that there's really no such thing as a problem. There's really no such thing as challenges. There's only opportunities. And so every problem that you run into is really just a golden opportunity for you to make your singing and your career better and stronger. So it's all just opportunities to up level, because the challenge is there to show you where the deficits are and where you need to improve in order to up level to where you want to go. Meaning, without making your way through and solving these challenges, you won't get where you want to go in the first place. So seeing the challenge as the gift, as the opportunity being put in front of you so that you can get where you want to go. And this is something that I don't know if you guys have ever heard of who Ray Dalio is. So Ray Dalio is a famous business analyst and business coach and writer. And one of the things that he's famous for saying is that every problem in your business is just a potential improvement that is screaming for attention. And I love that. And it is absolutely true because the exact same thing applies to your singing. So every problem in your singing, every challenge that you experience in your singing career is just a potential improvement that is screaming for your attention. So there are no problems. There are only opportunities. And I can't tell you guys how many oy vey moments that I have had, otherwise known as the OSHIT moments, that I've had in my own journey. But I can tell you from lots and lots of experience that every single one of those was a necessary stepping stone that brought me huge wins and learnings along the way to get where I wanted to go. So You are going to run into issues with your voice. You are going to run into challenges and problems on the path in your singing career. Know that. Like, know that. It is inevitable, okay? Especially if you're setting big goals and doing big things. So the key is that when you run into a problem, extract the lesson and fix what's broken as fast as you can. Because what makes problems so hard and what makes challenges so tough and so long to move through is not figuring out what's broken. It's that you're usually at war with yourself when you're doing that. And so you blame yourself, you shame yourself, you beat yourself up, you feel like a failure. And then guess what happens? Then you're trying to create a solution from within these horrible feelings and these awful disempowered states. And that's just a recipe for making bad decisions and staying stuck. So if you are trying to solve problems and transform challenges, doing that from an energy of fear or desperation or neediness or anger, if you're doing that, you're already sunk. And that's especially problematic for singers and performers whose body is their instrument, because your body and your energy and your sound is responding to the energy of your emotional state. So the key is to change your perspective and to see the problems and the challenges as a gift. They are an opportunity. Because without them, guys, without them, you wouldn't know what you needed to do to fix and hit your goals in the first place. So the challenge is there to show you what you need to fix to get where you want to go. So you can be grateful and have gratitude for the challenge as the opportunity that it is. And so once you realize that, then you realize that the problem, the challenge, is actually a good thing. And that is a reframe and a mindset shift that will take you far. So all you need to do is to find the lesson in the challenge. All that suffering and all that emotional turmoil, that's optional. So just let it go. So now that I've, explained to you my philosophy of challenges and problems, let's get to talking about solving the problem, solving challenges. So when you're working to solve a problem in your singing, whatever it is, whether it's a technique thing, whether it's, being able to be more successful at auditions, whether it's performance anxiety, whether it's the fact that nobody listens to the records that you release, whatever the problem is, the first thing to consider is, what kind of problem is it? Is it a people problem? Is it a process problem? Or is it a product problem? So let's start with product, because this tends to be the biggest thing that is generally ignored. So a product problem, guys, is when the product itself is substandard. And so in this case, the product is your performance, what you're able to do in that moment with your voice and your energy. Is your performance substandard? Are your performances not delivering impact? If that's so, that is why your singing career is stagnating and you're not reaching the levels of success that you want. So for singers, product problem is the number one issue. And it also seems to be the thing that they look at last to fix. I'm serious. Like, you guys, I talk to singers all day, every day, okay? So when a singer is not succeeding at the level they want, generally they go to blame. And they're going to blame their lack of industry connections, their lack of social media presence, their budget, that they don't have management or label backing. They're going to blame the school that they did or did not go to, the training that, the what do you call it, prestigious thing that they didn't have, or they're going to blame the city that they lived in or didn't live in, okay? I see this all too much, guys. It's a sad fact. So you have to be very honest with yourself. Again, this comes back to taking full ownership and responsibility. Do your performances deliver impact every single time? Do they do that? Do you know how to deliver that impact to an audience every single time? And if not, you have a product problem and you need to fix that right away. So if you keep releasing records and you're only getting like 1,000 plays, if you're going to a lot of auditions and you're not getting into the callbacks, or you get into the callbacks all the time, but you don't get hired, okay? Check in with yourself. Get really honest and look at the data. We're not gonna, go to the drama. You're not gonna make yourself, bad around this. You're just gonna look at the data. How many auditions did you go to in the last 6 months? How many jobs did you book from them? That's just data. If the answer is 0, you went to 12 auditions and you got 0 offers out of it, you have a product problem. Or if you continually book ensemble and you can't get an offer for a principal role, that's product problem, okay? Or if you keep releasing singles and you only get a few thousand plays, like I was saying, product problem. Many issues and problems in your singing career can be solved by just fixing the product itself, fixing your ability to make the biggest impact in those performances on that audience every single time, consistently, that you can deliver no matter what. So process problems, so that's a product problem. Okay, so we understand what product problems are. Okay, now process problems come in when the product is solid, but you're still not getting what you want. So if the product is solid, meaning you know how to consistently deliver and make that impact on your audience in those performances every single time, then you need to consider why you're not moving forward in your singing career, whether this is a people problem or a process problem now, okay? So if it's not the product, let's explore whether it might be a process problem. And this is kind of simple. And there's just a few simple questions that you have to ask yourself to find out if this is a process problem, okay? So first of all, what's the outcome that was supposed to happen but didn't? Meaning, you booked a show at a club and 5 people showed up, right? So the outcome that was supposed to happen was that you were supposed to sell out and fill 200 seats. But what actually happened was only 5 people came. Okay, so first of all, you have to determine what was the outcome supposed to be, right? What is the outcome that you want? If you don't know what the outcome is and you're not clear and intentional about what that is, then it's no wonder you didn't hit the outcome, okay? So for everything that happens in your singing, there should be a measurable target that you are aiming at. So for example, book more gigs. That's not a good outcome. It's not a good target. Now, get 8 paid gigs per month for no less than $300 each. That's a good target. That's a good outcome because it's measurable and you can hit it. So go to 10 auditions a month. This is a much more actionable target than audition more. Or, record the first single for my album by 4 weeks from now, right? This is a measurable outcome. Either you do it or you don't. Have more consistent breath support by the next show in 2 weeks so that the difficult phrase feels really easy and I don't crack. That's a measurable outcome. So either you will do the footwork to fix the issue effectively and the phrase will go well at your next show, or you'll crack and you'll know that either you didn't do the right footwork or that fix that what you did didn't work, didn't have the result you want, okay? So you're learning because you have a very specific target and either you hit it or you didn't, and then you can look at what needs to change so that the next time you shoot for that target, you hit it. Okay, so that's the first thing, is have a very clear outcome. Second thing is, do you have a mapped out process for achieving that outcome? So if you know the outcome that you're after, what is your plan for achieving it? Have you mapped it out? Sort of like it's like a flow chart could be, right? It's like work backwards from the target. What needs to happen for you to achieve it? Chunk it out. So if your outcome, let's say, is book 8 gigs a month for no less than $300 each. Okay, actionable target. What is the mapped out process for achieving this outcome? Work backwards. Well, if I want to get 8 paid gigs next month, well, what are the things that need to happen for me to get that? Well, number one, let me make a list of all the venues that I can approach. Let me get, contacts for all those. Do I have any connections to any of those? Do I have a landing page which shows footage from past shows or sound samples from, my music, which has contact information on it, maybe prior shows on there, right? Like, do I have a set list that I have in mind in order to do for this? Am I feeling, good about how my voice is going to show up, right? Because if you're worried that your voice can't show up to 8 gigs a month, then you're not going to go book them, right? Okay. So work backwards from the target, what needs to happen in order for you to achieve it, chunk it out, and then check them off one by one. Just go down your list. Okay. So that's the second thing, mapping out a process for achieving the outcome. The third thing is, if you have a team, has this process been shared with everyone on your team? Meaning, if you have management or collaborators or a production team or bandmates, have you communicated the goal, the outcome, and the map of your process to get there to your team so everyone is on the same page, everyone knows what you're working towards, everyone knows what they're responsible for, which parts of that, and how their success or failure to do those things will be measured within this outcome. Okay, you guys, you can have the most brilliant outcome in the world and clear outcome, you can have the most brilliant process in the world, but if you have a team and you haven't brought in your team and your collaborators in on it, it's not going to work. Okay. So have you shared your process with your team? And then the fourth thing is, was the process followed? So your outcome is clear. You have a process mapped out for getting there. Everyone on the team is on the same page what they're supposed to do, but did they do it? Did you do it? If not, then you don't have a process problem. You have a people problem. And more on this in a minute, okay? We're going to get to that. So finding out, was the process followed? Or number 5, is the process broken? Does the process actually work, right? So if everyone did their job well, if you did everything you were supposed to do, if everyone on your team did what they were supposed to do and followed the process, and still you didn't get a good outcome or result, then you need to look at the process itself. Which parts of it need to change? Where did the breakdown happen? It's time to design a new process. Okay, because too many people, they try and they don't get the result they want, and then they just throw up their hands and then they don't do it again. And so then they're assured that they won't reach their target. Or they do it again, but they do it with the same product, the same process that didn't work, without any iteration or any learning, right, that happened. So if it didn't work the first time, but you're going to shoot for your target again without any learnings of what, the disconnect was the first time, then you're just going to create the same result again. Okay. So look at the process. Did it work or is it broken? Where did the breakdown happen? What parts of it need to change? And then you get to design a new process that you can experiment with and iterate around the next time. So that brings me to the last piece of this, which are people problems. Okay, so we talked about product problems, talked about process problems. Now let's talk about people problems. And I can tell you that emotionally, they can be the toughest to deal with, especially if the main people problem you have is with you and your mindset. So let's start with a team first. If you have a team, if you have collaborators or management or people that you're working with on your music career, most people problems can just be avoided by simply bringing on people onto the team, hiring people onto the team well, choosing collaborators who have the same end goals as you, who have the same commitment level as you, and the same work ethic that you do. Okay, so if you hire great people and collaborate with great people, then they will usually deliver for you. Now, if you're having consistent people problems and you keep coming up against the same things again and again, people who are less committed than you, people who are, have a different communication style than you, people who go rogue, things like that, then either you're hiring wrong, you're choosing wrong partners or collaborators, or you are leading wrong. You are not being clear about what is important to you as the leader of this project, as the face of your music. You are not being clear in communicating and leading your collaborators, your team, in the right direction. So looking at if you have people problems, whether you are choosing the wrong people or whether you are not leading them effectively. Or the people problem might actually be you and who you are being and how you are showing up that is sabotaging either your process or your product or both. So if you are the people problem, what do you do? What do you do? So the first question is to ask, well, is it a problem of training? Is it a problem within my training, or is it a problem within my mindset? So a training problem, it's pretty obvious. It means that you haven't given yourself the proper training or the proper coaching or the clarity on the skill set that you need to succeed. And so in this case, the most important skill set you need to succeed at a high level with your singing is your vocal technique. So if you haven't given yourself the right technical training, which means training that works and gets results, right? Just because you've been to a teacher for 3 years, if you're still struggling with the same problems, you still have a training problem because that training is not effective, okay? So it's not just that you are getting training, does the training work and is it getting results, okay? So if you have not given yourself the right kind of technical training, then you can't be shocked, guys, when your voice or your performances don't deliver for you at the highest level, okay? So now, if you do have training, if you've done that, it's probably not a training issue. It's a mindset issue. So a mindset issue means that your thinking is sabotaging either your training, your process, or your product, i.e. your performances, or all of the above. So no amount of vocal training is going to fix that. It's not going to fix your mindset. It's not going to fix your process, right? It's about who you are being. The mindset is about who you are being when you sing, when you engage with your singing career, and when you act on your own behalf in ways to move it forward, and the thinking that creates that, okay? That's the mindset. So if your mindset is affecting the results that you want, then you need to address that right away, because every sound you make, every performance that you give, all of the ways in which you act on your own behalf or not to make opportunities and take opportunities in your singing are affected by your mindset. So if your mindset is affecting your results, then you need to address that right away. So given everything we've talked about, what is the biggest challenge that you are facing in your singing right now? So drop a comment here. I'm really curious to know. And if you need our help to fix that problem, then book a call. If you're watching this on YouTube, then click the link at the end of the screen that you see at the end of the video. And if you're watching on Facebook, the link will be in the chat. And so whatever your challenge is, guys, I can promise you that we've seen it and crushed it like 1,000 times over already. This is what we do all day, every day. So let us help. Book a call with us and let's see if we can help you get a little more clear on what the big issues are in your singing, and if we can help be that expert to help you move through them faster. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time in the Pro Singer Success Collective. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into today's episode. If you want to subscribe, click the link right over there that says subscribe. And if you want to book a breakthrough session with me, which you absolutely should do, then click the link right over here that says book a call to schedule an appointment to speak with us. I'll see you on the next episode.